Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of the Sales Growth Club TV show. I'm Chris and I'm here with Steve.
Hi Chris, hi everyone.
Okay, we're continuing to talk about customer feedback. I do love the subject because obviously
Tell me why.
being a social media expert and working with video, it's all about feedback.
Okay.
You know, I love recording people giving their feedback to us and to our clients, listening to what they have to say.
Yeah.
And how they feel about your products and service. It's great to listen to, but occasionally you get that bad feedback. I won't say bad like not people going, oh, we hate it, we're going to cancel.
Yeah.
But like, we wish it could do this, or we wish it could do that. And some people are afraid of that, aren't they? When they're trying to get feedback, some people are afraid to listen to the bad, which actually stops them from getting it in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean the fear of feedback. I mean it's a bit like when you've got something tricky to say. Sometimes it's easier not to say it, right? And you know that that's the wrong thing. And it's the same with customer feedback. And it's not that you're presupposing that you are doing a bad job. With some people there is just this inherent fear that they are not delivering, and that could just be how your mindset is wired, right? And that could just be, you know, anxiety. It could be all sorts of reasons. It could be from a previous experience. So I think there is a fear in some business owners around the feedback, and you know I used just the picture that I always draw, and I mentioned it last week, is the ostrich with his head in the sand. Because, you know, if we put our head in the sand, it will all go away. Well, actually, in reality, as soon as you lift your head out of the sand, it's there again.
Yeah.
You know, and if we're not flushing out things that aren't ideal in our business, we can't improve. If we're not flushing out things that aren't working well, we can't change them. And actually, if our customers, we're not delivering on their expectations, it could well be that something in our offer up front isn't clear and they were expecting to buy something which was going to cover this, but actually was never your intention. So you've got many ways to learn from the feedback.
Yeah.
So the fear, I get it, but I really, really encourage you to lift your head out of the sand.
Okay. And the other thing that's when we're asked to do testimonials, clients say, "Can you go and film testimonials or get these testimonials?" Sometimes there's a fear of we're all too busy to get them.
Yeah.
I think that's why people occasionally come to us and say, "Can you deal with this?" Because I'm worried about asking in case they're too busy, and I'm too busy as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all have busy lives, right? And I think when we think about the positive stuff that comes from testimonials, the chance to demonstrate that we're the leading voice, the chance to grow our business through referrals and testimonials, you sort of start to think, well, surely this is the right thing to be prioritizing, making one of the priorities. And I think it's a really important way that you as a business owner can keep the relationship with your client very, very real and current. And I mean, there's a power in video testimonial for sure, and I think we talk about that in the coming weeks. And so I think if you can be part of that, then that's a really good thing. That's a really good thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's understanding that people aren't too busy and they actually want to give their feedback, isn't it?
Well, I think this is the point, right? So, if you have invested the time to have built a relationship with somebody you're supplying a product or a service to, it's kind of natural and obvious to ask them, how am I doing? How did it go? Did it work? Are you seeing the value? And actually, as the buyer of that product, I'm expecting you to ask. And not only am I expecting you to ask, I actually am wanting to tell you. So part of the important thing here with customer feedback is don't fear asking for it, because your client actually wants wants to have the dialogue. They'll want to tell you whether it's working or whether it's not.
Yeah. Right. Also, what happens if, when you're asking, you start thinking, one of the frustrations I know that's came out recently is asking and then realising that your client wants something completely that you don't do.
Yeah.
And there's a frustration, you're like, oh, now I know that. I've actually got to now go and do it.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is a great way to monopolise and get more income, and sell additional products. But sometimes you just don't have the time to do what your client actually needs.
Well, we've spoken a bit about our ecosystem when we were building our business strategy, right? So part of your pre-thinking should almost be anticipating that. So your ideal client selection normally fits your product ecosystem.
Yeah.
So range selling is something that is natural and logical.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing first. If you've squeezed someone into your strategy that just about fits, and then they ask you for something that takes you further away from your strategy, there is a risk, obviously. But there is also two things that are positive here. One, it could identify a gap in your ecosystem that you want to plug a new product in that range. And that can work really, really, really well. So a lot of the courses that I put on the web, on my website, are based out of what people ask me to provide. But the second one is, and the fear behind this question potentially is that you have to invest time to develop your skills or your knowledge to be able to support the delivery of that gap. I think the example is a couple of weeks ago, as we were closing out sales and marketing alignment, we started to ask questions about social media, and people were asking about scheduling tools and things like this. Well, I asked the question, I didn't really have the answer, but I had to go and find the answer. Luckily enough, the answer isn't far away from me right now, but the point is, sometimes if you ask the question, you've got to be prepared to go and find the answer.
Yeah, okay. Because Richard Branson, isn't his famous motto was say yes until you figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So,
true. And like all of these wise people, I think there is a good motivation and direction behind it. Because I am a process junkie, I go back into the beginning. Your business strategy selects your ideal client, your marketing identifies your ideal clients, and when you go and when you win them and start to talk to them, range selling is a pretty logical thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard Branson.
Thanks, Richard Branson. We'll use him as the headline of the blog this week. Okay. Finally on this, how do you use the feedback? We have covered this, I realise that, but I kind of want to get a bit more of this question out. How do you use that feedback to make change to your business?
Yeah.
I suppose to yourself as well.
Well, I think we did slightly touch this, but I think the point is, if you get the feedback, first of all, recognise it. Then it's your judgment about whether it's valid. Right? It is just an opinion. It is feedback. Right? Now, it could be that the feedback is very factual. The packaging was broken, or it could be it didn't move me from X to Y. Well, there's probably a lot of things that could have happened between X and Y that are nothing to do with your product or your service. So the first place is to validate the feedback. And then if the feedback has validity, it's about ensuring that you look at your offer, look at your skill set, look at your products to address whatever that is. And it is actually lifting the bonnet, if you want another metaphor, of the car and looking at the engine and just making sure that everything is right and that everything is ready. And feedback is a great way to make sure that the engine is running as you want it to run. Okay.
So how has your customer feedback gone since we've started this? You know, we've spent a whole week talking about this now. Has it encouraged you to get more customer feedback?
Hope so.
And how has that helped? Has it helped you understand a bit more about your product and service? Do let us know. If you don't want to put it into the forum, then message Steve. So Steve has a better understanding of how you're doing with customer feedback and how our content is helping you. That is all we've got time for to cover this week. Steve will be around in the group for the rest of the week, so do get your questions across. We're going to be coming back next week and talking more about the wants and aspirations
Okay.
of customer feedback. So what you really want it to do, more than just what you're fearful of. So next week will be a great time to tune in as well. But from us two here, thank you very much and have a great day.